Chapter 7. Act 2. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we diet. Drink coffee. Do stupid things faster with more energy. Smoking will kill you. Bacon will kill you. But smoking bacon will cure it. Those were 3 of the many kitschy signs decorating the foyer of the cozy corner restaurant where Ronnie took me after work. Turns out, Ronnie had friends, and those friends wanted to meet us for dinner. Ronnie nodded to the bartender as we walked past. Then she led me to a small table in a secluded corner of the dining area. 2 of the table's 5 wooden chairs were already occupied. The first occupant was a lean yet muscular man in a loose purple shirt and tight black pants. His dark auburn hair was buzzed on the sides, but rose stylishly gelled in the center. He was shaking his head at the table's other occupant, a willowy woman whose shoulder-length black hair was streaked with vibrant red stripes. Faint lines around their eyes indicated they were closer to Ronnie's age than mine. "Drew, isn't that a woman's blouse?" the woman asked as we approached.
"No, I bought it, so it's my blouse,"
the man responded.
"It suits you,"
Ronnie interrupted.
"Garish on the outside, yet secretly classy."
The 2 diners turned, noticing us for the first time.
"Ronnie, hey!"
the man said with a friendly smile.
"I didn't smell you coming. You must have had an accident-free day."
"Very funny," Ronnie retorted.
"But no matter what I touch at work, I'll still smell better than that musky cologne of yours."
The willowy woman giggled as the man sniffed his wrists.
"Ah, man musk."
He sighed contentedly.
"Nothing better."
"Maybe if you're trying to attract a female skunk bear," Ronnie retaliated. "But enough introductory banter." She gently pulled me closer to the table.
"We're supposed to set an example of positive social interaction for the kid. If we keep on like this, she'll think it's normal to go around wantonly insulting people."
Ronnie placed a hand on my shoulder and gestured from me to her friends.
"Emily, meet Akumi and Drew. Akumi and Drew meet Emily."
"Wow, look at you!" Akumi hopped out of her seat and wrapped me in a tight hug. It was the first hug I'd ever received, and I liked the comfort of its warm acceptance. Before the embrace became uncomfortably long, Akumi pulled back an arm's length to study me. "Aw, Ronnie," she said affectionately. "You didn't tell us she's got your nose."
"Does she?"
Ronnie turned to scrutinize my face.
"I guess it is kind of flat,"
she conceded with a shrug. Drew gave Ronnie an exasperated expression.
"Honey, how many times do I have to tell you? Your face is fabulous. If you talk smack about yourself, you'll give the kid a complex."
"I think it's a cute nose," Akumi assured me. Then she grabbed my hand and led me to her side of the table. "Come sit next to me, Emily. I'll tell you all the secrets Ronnie doesn't want you to know."
"Talk about giving the kid a complex," Ronnie muttered. "So, where's Carl tonight?" she asked as we got settled around the table.
"He got pulled into a late shift," Akumi sighed. "You know how it is around the holidays." A plump, red-faced man in a stained apron came and asked us what we wanted to eat.
"The usual, Pablo," Ronnie replied. "Plus a smorgasbord for my newbie. She's never tried fried foods before, so go crazy."
The man's round face split into a toothy grin.
"Ah, there's no better customer than a hungry newbie. I'll make this a night your taste buds will never forget,"
he promised me. Then he waddled back toward his kitchen. Akumi, Ronnie, and Drew quickly settled into the comfortable gossip of old friends. I tried following their conversation, but it was full of people, places, and events I didn't know. There was even an inside joke about a bald unicorn they said you had to be there to fully appreciate. I was happy to silently munch on all the different appetizers. I'd been alive all of 2 days, and I could already tell that food was the best part of existence. But as my stomach filled, it occurred to me I wasn't making the best first impression. From Akumi and Drew's perspective, I was nothing but a silent food vacuum. Maybe it was time to contribute to the conversation. but how? There wasn't much for me to say. I hadn't been alive long enough to have any interesting stories or opinions. All I knew was that food was delicious and clothes shopping was boring. Ukumi was in the middle of a story about haggling with a paper cup merchant. From what I'd gathered, she was a manager at a franchise restaurant and her regular cup supplier was trying to renegotiate their contract. "It's like I didn't enter yesterday," Ukumi complained. "I know a bad deal when I see one." I saw my opening and went for it. "Well, I did enter yesterday, and even I think that sucks." For an uncomfortable moment, all three of them stared at me in silence. Then they burst out laughing. "Oh, you're funny," Ukumi informed me. She grinned at Ronnie. "She's hardly a punishment at all." "Punishment?" I turned to Ronnie for an explanation.
"Ooh, awkward."
Drew chuckled with obvious delight at the unfolding drama. Ronnie fidgeted uncomfortably for a moment, then sighed.
"Hosting you was part of a plea bargain," she admitted, putting down her drink. "I was arrested on multiple charges of disturbing the peace." "Bar fights."
Drew fake coughed the words over the rim of his tea.
"Hey, no one seems to care that I didn't start the fights,"
Ronnie defended.
"I only finished them."
"I think throwing a penguin-shaped shot glass at Martin and telling him to go sard himself with it counts as starting the fight," Ukumi said dryly.
"He should have left that girl alone,"
Ronnie huffed. She obviously wasn't into him. Ukumi shrugged noncommittally.
"Anyway,"
Ronnie turned back to me.
"I was pulled in for a disciplinary hearing. The judge gave me an offer. Host a newbie in exchange for expunging my record."
"Is that normal?" I asked. If I was running a society, people with criminal records were the last ones I'd want training newbies.
"First I'd heard of it,"
Ronnie said with a shrug.
"But it makes sense. You see, Aradet has a demographics problem. No one's wanted newbies in the past few years. They can be a real pain. No offense, kid. But the workforce is aging, and we need more newbies to balance out the population."
"I see." I frowned. "But if hosting newbies is a continuous need, why aren't there professional hosts?"
"It's better for the gene pool if a bunch of diverse people host,"
Drew explained, dipping an onion ring into fry sauce.
"Otherwise, one disease could come in and wipe everyone out."
Ronnie nodded.
"The government does all it can to encourage young, financially stable minorities to host, but it's illegal to force anyone to donate their blood. So, when I stepped into the courtroom, the judge saw a mutually beneficial opportunity. They'd add some new blood to the gene pool, and I'd get a clean record without the usual demerits and unpaid work rotation. I figured 18 weeks with a newbie couldn't be too bad."
I didn't know what to make of this new information. It hadn't occurred to me to ask Ronnie why she decided to host. But come to think of it, she'd never seemed particularly enthusiastic about hosting. It was unsettling to think I only existed because she'd thrown shot glasses at people. "Why do most hosts decide to have newbies?" I asked. Was I the only person to ever enter unwanted? The three friends looked at each other questioningly.
"My host was lonely,"
Ronnie said at last.
"She was old and her husband had recently died. She thought hosting would be a great retirement project. It worked out well for us, but 8 years ago, Parliament instituted an age limit on hosting. Turns out too many elderly people just wanted a free home aid. It's a pity, though. Old people make great hosts. They've got plenty of leisure time and are literally dying to pass on everything they know. And then they keel over and leave you their snazzy penthouse apartments," said Drew facetiously. "And all their junk," Ronnie added, twirling a strand of spaghetti onto her fork. "Don't forget those 2 giant crates of ugly cat figurines. It took me years to sort through all her paperwork and knickknacks." "I'll never have that problem," Drew sighed. "There's no way I'll ever inherit anything from my host."
"Why not?" I asked,
snagging the last bit of guacamole on a pita chip. "'Cause he's totally going to outlive me." Drew smirked. "My host Max is only 6 months older than me. When he was in trade school, he and some buddies dared each other to sneak into the entrance center and drop some blood. Back in the 90s, the security around the Genesis pools wasn't what it is now. They thought they'd get away with it, but they were positively ID'd on the security cams and had to pay huge fines. I was assigned to adoptive hosts, but Max and I still meet up sometimes. He has excellent taste in margaritas."
Akumi had sat slack-jawed through Drew's entire account. OMP? I had no idea Max was your host. I thought you two were dating or something. This makes so much more sense.
Drew laughed.
I mean, I think Max is gorgeous, but that's because we're related.
He laughed again.
I can't believe I've never told you the truth about him. How are we even friends, Akumi?
I knew you only hung out with me so I'd give you free breakfast coupons,
Akumi teased. Then her smile drooped.
To be fair, I usually avoid any conversations about hosts.
I thought you told me you had pretty normal hosts, Ronnie ventured.
If by normal you mean controlling and demanding.
Akumi's lips formed a tight line.
They were obsessed with bloodlines and family traditions. From the moment I entered, they had a constant mantra. You are a legacy. You carry the hope of our ancestors. You must be best. They were super disappointed when I opted for a managerial position instead of entering trade school. They weren't interested in me after that. I haven't talked to them in years. She kept her voice light and unconcerned, but from the way she was strangling her napkin, the subject clearly bothered her.
It's their loss, Ronnie assured her, reaching out to place a comforting hand over hers.
Akumi sighed and dropped her now thoroughly throttled napkin. I know, but it's still sad to lose that relationship. They actually had the nerve to ask me if I wouldn't mind changing my last name. Can you believe it? Apparently, they didn't want anyone to know about the connection between us. Both Ronnie and Drew made sympathetic humming noises. I added my own since that seemed to be the socially appropriate response. They couldn't force me to change it, though. Akumi lifted her water glass and stared at the condensation on the outside. So even after I married Carl, I kept their surname just to spite them.
Hey, if your hosts were smart, they would have encouraged your career choice, Drew said. Those free breakfast coupons are seriously lifesavers.
Ronnie smacked his arm, but Akumi's lips rose into a small smile. Last year I found out I have a younger brother, Akumi continued, returning her glass to its coaster. Carl convinced me to reach out to him, and he's actually really sweet. He's on track to become an osteometric surgeon. My hosts finally got what they wanted. Akumi leaned back with a sigh. And hey, they might have been crappy hosts, but they taught me exactly what not to do when I have a newbie someday. Wow, seemed like everyone had host issues. I felt slightly better about being the product of a court order. Sorry for killing the mood, Akumi apologized. How about we order some dessert to cheer us up? As we waited for our order of cream puffs to arrive, Ronnie excused herself, saying something about
going to the ladies.
I glanced around the restaurant, but I didn't see an obvious group of ladies for Ronnie to go to. Which ladies were she talking about, and why did she need to go to them? She's coming back, right? I asked Ronnie's friends as she disappeared around the corner. Now that I knew Ronnie hadn't freely chosen to host, I wondered if anything was stopping her from abandoning me somewhere. I was annoyed to be so dependent on her. Akumi and Drew laughed. Don't worry, Emily, Akumi reassured me. Ronnie has a hard exterior, but she's loyal to a fault.
And she secretly adores you, Drew added. She sent me tons of messages last night bragging about how pretty and clever you are.
Really? I hadn't realized how much I yearned for Ronnie's approval until I got it. Drew took another sip of his tea.
Oh yeah, she thinks you're great, but she'll never tell you. You'll learn pretty fast that most people say nice things to your face but mean things behind your back. Ronnie prides herself on being the opposite.
That's good to know, I said. I got the impression she finds my existence annoying.
Honestly, it's always annoying having someone new in your space, no matter how much you like them, Drew said.
Yeah, Akumi nodded. I didn't realize marrying Carl meant surrendering my bathroom counter to his army of toiletries. The morning after he moved in, I thought I was picking up my toothbrush, but it turned out to be his nose hair trimmer. She wrinkled her nose in disgust.
OMP! Carl uses a nose hair trimmer?
Drew gasped.
Oh, I am so using that against him.
Has Ronnie always lived alone then? I asked.
Not always.
Drew trailed off. He looked at Akumi expectantly.
You know more about it than I do.
I don't suppose Ronnie has mentioned Jack? Akumi asked me. I shook my head. You've probably seen pictures of him around the apartment. He's the lighter-skinned guy with the dark hair, kind of stocky, thick eyebrows. She raised her eyebrows at me questioningly. Again, I shook my head. Akumi shrugged. Maybe she finally took them down. Anyway, Ronnie and Jack had a thing 10 years ago. They were so perfect together. They met at trade school and immediately started dating. They lived together for a couple semesters, but then he hopped on Panosyn's boats and disappeared. She's never really gotten over it. Panosyn. That name was familiar. Panosyn's the guy with the book, right? Akumi and Drew nodded. He has boats, too? I wondered what else he had. Booths, bonnets, burros, bongos.
Yeah, so there's this fleet of autonomous boats that sail in from the southwest, Drew explained. Every morning, a new boat docks at East Wharf, waiting for willing passengers. Then at sunset, the boat launches, disappearing out to sea. Panosyn's book claims his boats are the gateway to learning all of life's mysteries.
Drew lowered his voice to a dramatic whisper.
But anyone who boards those boats is never heard from again.
And Jack knew that? I asked. Then why did he decide to go?
Still waiting on those cream puffs?
All three of us startled at the sound of Ronnie's voice. I hadn't realized I'd leaned in closer to Drew to hear the secrets of Ronnie's pre-host life. I tried my best to look casual and nonchalant as I leaned back and took a pretend sip from my now empty glass.
Did I miss any more existential questions?
Ronnie asked as she settled back into her seat.
Nope, only dull and mundane here,
Drew said with a forced smile. His comment was followed by the stilted silence that lets someone know you were just talking about them. Ronnie glanced between us suspiciously. So, what did the ladies want? I asked her, trying to break the tension. It worked. The silence was broken by my three older dining companions laughing at my ignorance. Then they spent the rest of the evening teaching me the subtle art of euphemisms. Later, as Ronnie and I returned to our apartment, I felt a strange, unpleasant sensation on my bare arms. Hey, Ronnie, I said before she could disappear into her room. I think there's something wrong with my arms. She looked at me in concern.
What do you mean? They look fine to me.
They're throbbing with a pinching, shrinking feeling, I explained, and my skin is all bumpy. Ronnie put her hand on my right bicep and started laughing.
Banoosh, kid. You're just gold. Haven't you ever been?
She trailed off.
Right. Dumb question. Well, congratulations. You've discovered what being cold feels like. Now go put on a sweater.